Brandon Lewis here, bringing you some personal updates, a little bit of info about what has happened with the lawsuit, the mailbag, the upcoming RINO report, and a few stories I didn't get to with Michael Yaffe. This is the TenCon Big 7, a little bit different than we typically do it, but I hope you'll forbear me because in the summer, the news just gets slow, and I don't want to bring you a bunch of boring stories, and I don't want to duplicate what I do on Yaffe's show, so I'm going to bring you the ones that I think you would care about. First off, it's been a rough and a wonderful week for me. Don't know why God makes things both bitter and sweet, but I went to a funeral for a very good friend I've known for 15 years. We were pretty close, and it just broke my heart. He was getting into close to being 80, and so I guess these things happen, right? You never know when it's your time, but he was in the picture of health. He's a fraternity brother of mine. He was a believer. He was just a kind, gentle, awesome, gregarious, loud man, and I will miss him. I've still got a little unfinished business relative to that at the Chattanooga National Cemetery. I went to a splendid wedding with another fraternity brother, Ben. Just a wonderful wedding, one of the best I've ever been to. Fun, engaging, but now I'm on my way to another funeral, which is why I've got to wrap this up pretty quick. A very dear, close family friend, father passed away. And it's just sad, right? You get in these stages of life where you're going to weddings, and sometimes you're going to funerals, and sometimes you're going to both. And so I've been between that and traveling been a little bit rather out of sorts. So I appreciate your forbearance. Other personal news before we get into the stories and the mailbag. I have decided, this is not like a firm announcement, but I have decided that I'm not running for anything. Gotcha. I'm not running for anything. But I am getting back into candidate coaching with a very limited number of clients. And I'll be doing that both as one-on-one, which will be more of a time and money investment. And I'm also going to be doing group coaching. So I've coached political candidates successfully for a long time. I've coached painting contractors successfully for a long time. And I'm going to marry the systems and processes together with the acumen that I've gathered in politics. So stay tuned for that. There will be more of a firm announcement. But if you know for sure you're running for office and you think instinctively you would like my help, email me now. I may not even have to promote anything. I may just be full. Okay. So Brandon at TennesseeConservativeNews.com, Brandon at TennesseeConservativeNews.com. If I don't get back to you right away, email me twice, reach out to Jason Vaughn. He'll know how to reach me. Lawsuit update. We're packing a lot in here today. So, according to my lawyer, I'm not supposed to write the types of things that I wrote in the fundraising email and text and video, given the fact that there is an ongoing lawsuit. Often you will hear people who are in the middle of a lawsuit, I can't say anything, my attorney said, yeah. So, for example, I can't say that I feel like my First Amendment rights are being violated. I can't feel angry and tell you that this is lawfare, similar to what Democrats and RINOs do all across the nation. No, I have to simply state the facts. And so I'm going to get a statement from our attorney to send out to the list. But I want to thank all of you who helped chip in for operating expenses, legal fees, etc. We have taken depositions, and we have filed a very specific type of rebuttal to this complaint that has been used successfully when lawfare has been employed previously to silence political speech. And so we hope that that will be successful. But, you know, the weird thing is, despite the outpouring of support here at the Tennessee Conservative, emails, text, mail, we're still 4% down, right? And a lawsuit. And so, guys, if you've never given and you're on our list, pitch in. We can't do this if like 90% of the team is like, I'm too cheap to do anything. It just doesn't work in any organization, doesn't work in churches, doesn't work in business, doesn't work at home. Why people think it works in politics or media, I have no idea. It's illogical. But, you know, sometimes the cheapness is stronger than the passion. So chip in if you can. TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support, or you can mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. That is P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. Now, I got a remarkable amount of mail, and I'm only going to go through about half of it, and I can't read all of it. Tracy, you know who you are, stalwart supporter, says, Brandon and I have always longed to be well-spoken, bold, and courageous, able to stay on top of the current issues that affect people's lives so that I can make a positive, righteous, and lasting difference. But alas, I don't have any of that, but the Tennessee Conservative has all and more. I can't read all of this, but Tracy, thank you. You've been with us from the very beginning. You're remarkably generous. One thing I often say, I just can't. I have two things in my mind when I think about the finances of the Tennessee Conservative. On the one hand, there's I'm just be honest with you, like white heart burning anger that people are so lazy and selfish that they will talk the talk and show up to stuff, but they hardly ever put any time or money into anything. But on the other side is this feeling of humility and, I don't know, it's like almost, and it shouldn't be, embarrassment or feeling like you're putting too much on the handful of people that actually carry the publication. Tracy's one of those people. Every time somebody like Tracy sends in a large check, and they've done it so consistently, like I feel guilty. Like I should be, like if I had the time, if I weren't working, didn't have two kids, didn't have two companies going, like I would like to get in the car and go ride around and say hey to these people, drink coffee with them and say, I appreciate you very much. Time constraints just don't allow it unless I want to have real skinny kids, and they're already pretty skinny, and so I got to keep it up. Nerds to Go says, keep up the good work. And I think this is part of half of it, because you and the other defendants probably should find one counsel to defend the group and counterattack the plaintiff. Done. Thank you for the advice. That's what we did. Not at my reckoning, but the attorney's reckoning. So I'm not an attorney. This one comes from Bernard. Dear Brandon, this check for the lawsuit, so addressed of how to use it. I'm having a hard time reading this. We're praying that truth and real justice will prevail. Please don't quit. You are doing the Lord's work, and the battle is His. So thank you, Arlene. You know who you are. Alice, thank you. Very generous. Hope you have enough to countersue. Trust God for your decision. Thank you, dear. This is a long one. I can't read all of it. Dear Brandon, I want to let you know how much I appreciate your work in the conservative movement. There's nothing worse than your own party having evil people, I have not read this until now, that do awful things. I honestly see the handprints of so-and-so behind all this. I'm going to leave that alone. But yes, it is frustrating, right? It's funny. I said the other day, as I watched Freddie O'Connell and the Democrats and everybody suing to basically allow the rampant illegal alien invasion of Tennessee to continue, all the stories we covered in Yaffe. If you did not listen to that, go back to the podcast, go on social media, listen to that, because we covered like 3 really big illegal immigration stories. The Democrats fight harder for their constituents than the Republicans do. It's just, it is evident. Like they will go to bat when there's absolutely no chance of winning. We can't get Republicans to go to bat when they have a supermajority on this issue. It's very sad. God bless America. Dear Brandon, it was brought to my attention via YouTube about the lawfare. You and 12 people watch us on YouTube because they censored us, like batted us completely down after we did that interview with Robert Malone during COVID, which all turned out to be true, by the way. Please know that I'm praying for divine intervention. Carol C. Thank you, dear. Can't read the whole thing. Keep up the fight. You are getting flack because you're over the target. Boy, I say that all the time, and it's absolutely true. Don, thank you. You are a consistent supporter. I appreciate you. RC writes in, big thanks to you and your staff for providing news, insights, and opinions, being a truth warrior, and shedding light in the darkness. Thought you might enjoy this green heron at Bedford Lake fishing with our grandson. Thank you so much, Steve and Kayleen. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm a bird dude. I got a bird feeder right outside of, I say I'm a bird dude. I'm a recent bird dude. I got a bird feeder outside of my office window. I enjoy watching it. And I had to go to war with the squirrels. And then I determined that there was no way to win that war, and I put these squirrel baffles on the bird feeder with little bitty pointy spikes and this thing that looks like a dunce cap. And so far, it seems to have worked. It worked on me because I poked myself and ended up bloody. So if it doesn't work on the squirrels, apparently it works on me. Dear Brandon and TCN staff, truly value reporting news from a conservative vantage point. You're filling an important gap. In addition to the enclosed gift, I'd like to increase my automatic monthly gift. Let me know how to do that. The Chenards. So you can see that nice little card that came in. And then this is probably one of my favorites. And I'm going to cover up the name because I don't know if he wants me to show this, his name. Hope this contribution helps. I've had this yard sign planted for a few years now and hope that it's encouraged others to seek you out. Keep up the good work, and thanks for all you do to help Tennessee be more informed, better place to live. Look at that. You can see it. TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Dude made it himself, stuck it in his yard. And this is what I mean by, you have subscribers that are like, you know what? I can't just sit on my butt. I can't just sit on my wallet. I'm going to do something, even if it's small, even if it's sending in a donation and putting a yard sign in my yard so maybe the publication picks up 10 subscribers in my neighborhood. See, that's the kind of stuff that makes you feel obligated and encouraged. And then the other 90% is what makes you be like, maybe somebody else will do this. I got to move on because we should already have left the house here. We've got to be in Colmont soon. So the Tennessee Conservatives 2025 RINO Report is almost here. Within a few short days, you're going to have this year's RINO Report, which is going to be really critical for you to make voting decisions. It's a labor-intensive process. It's a service we provide for free, like a lot of things. We based each year's finding on the key votes taken and the policies administered by the legislative branch. And so what we do that's unique, I think, in the RINO Report is a lot of people score candidates. We don't really score them. We're just like, okay, here are the votes on issues that conservatives would probably be red hot mad about if they knew how their politicians voted. And here are the big votes. And then also, okay, here's who had the worst voting record this year, and here's who had the best, more or less. And that includes both, and this is just year by year, right? This is not the lifetime. So sometimes you'll have somebody that's not been very conservative that had a conservative session. And I think they should be patted on the back and rewarded because some of these politicians, very few, have turned the corner on key issues. Rhinos that are just like, okay, I see the writing on the wall. I don't want to be vulnerable to an attack or a primary opponent. I'm going to actually try to start voting a little bit more like my district wants and less like the corporately funded politicians want. Next story, Memphis mayor boasts about declining crime rate mere days after almost getting kidnapped. Memphis Mayor Paul Young was almost kidnapped by an alleged stalker mere days before taking to social media to denounce claims that the city is not the safest environment. Why do people lie about crap like this? It'd be like if you're 800 pounds and you're like, I'm skinny. Like, everybody knows you're not. Everybody knows you're not. You know, it's like if I said I'm 20 years old, everybody knows I'm not. If I said I have a full head of hair, everyone knows that's not true. But why politicians just, I guess they think, there are the dumb among us, I suppose. If you tell them stuff, they'll believe it. And on last Tuesday, Mayor Young responded to comments made by sports analyst Stephen A. Smith. There's nothing worse than national bad attention, which is why I wish the conservative media outlets and the pundits, the folks like at the Daily Wire that have moved to our state would be more engaged and vocal. If you know anybody at the Daily Wire, send them an email and ask them, hey, where have you been? There's an entire legislative session. We've seen virtually nothing except for a little bit of input from Matt Walsh, which we're thankful for. And so you can see national attention changes things locally, or at least gets their attention. He had an official statement on his social media. Then on Wednesday, Mayor Young took to Memphis's defense. Trenton Abston, 25-year-old, was arrested by Memphis police and charged with attempted kidnapping, stalking, and aggravated criminal trespass against Mayor Young. So I'm sorry, Mr. Young, Mayor Young. Buddy, when people are kidnapping you, you're not in a safe place. Next story. Nashville Bonding Company sued for $150 million by family of murdered woman. The bail bonding companies that released a man charged with 3 felonies for kidnapping and beating Lauren Johansson, his girlfriend at the time, in December of 2023, are being sued for $150 million by the victim's family. Approximately 6 months after the vicious assaults, which Johansson lost consciousness and feared for her life, Brocken Rivers traveled to Mississippi to find her, breaking the conditions of his bond, which stipulated he remain in Tennessee, specifically within Davidson County. Johansson was found dead in the back of her car on July 3rd in Gulfport, Mississippi. I'm actually going to go to Gulfport, Mississippi. This is odd. Gulfport, Mississippi doesn't get in the in the news very often. My dad had a top shop there when I was growing up, vinyl tops, and he would drive all the way to Arab, Alabama, Albertville, Alabama at the time, pick me up and drive me down to Gulfport. And he had a little bitty room that served as both the living room, the bathroom, and the kitchen in the back of this shop, and that's where I slept. And he made it kind of into look like a efficiency apartment. And he would work on tops, and about 2 or 3 o'clock, he'd knock off, we'd go to the beach. And so I'm trying to go back down there and find that thing as I travel, so we'll see if I find it there. Back to the story, as if you care about that stuff. While Rivers was fitted for a GPS tracking device, no location restrictions were set. Your government doing a good job. The monitoring company was aware of the location conditions for 4 days after Rivers' release, when he was called back and fitted with a second device. So basically, this is just an example of a failed criminal justice system, vendors, providers, bail bondsmen, etc. These type of people that do this stuff, I mean, they just need to be put in jail and locked, throw away the key. If you're out goofing around, clowning around, look, I don't think people should serve life for stuff like that. But when you endanger someone's life, attempt to murder them, disfigure them, things of that nature, there should be a strong, immediate, quick penalty. Guys, if you can help us, TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. I asked Jennifer, are we still sending out tumblers? Are we still sending out koozies for people that give over $50 or a recurring donation of 10 or more? She said, yeah, boss. I got it going. As a boss, sometimes you think people may just quit doing things, and occasionally they do, but not Miss Berger. So, guys, if you could do that, please do. And then, of course, P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee, 37377. One other thing that I failed to mention, we may be doing a fundraiser, actual fundraiser at Tellico Village. Rick Dram sent me a text, and I may make that a statewide call. And I have not done this formally. But if you're watching this toward the end, you're like a true blue supporter. It's the middle of the summer. If you want to host a fundraiser in your community for our paper, and you've got a place you can have it, and you can throw some food out, I'll promote it, try to get people to it. We'll set ticket prices. I just don't have the time, nor do we have the money, unfortunately, to rent places and cater things with the hopes that people show up. But if somebody pays for the place, doesn't have to be extravagant. If somebody pays for the food, we can raise money and know, okay, we may not raise that much, but at least we know we're not going to lose any. So if you are, especially in the larger markets, Chattanooga, Knoxville, even Memphis, I'll drive out there. Lord, I don't want to. That's a long way. I like it out there. I just don't want to go that far, West Tennessee. But Nashville, you name it, we would love to take you up on that offer. So just email me, Brandon@TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Last story. Tennessee won't know how many new vouchers go to existing private school students. Why? I've just always been a big fan of, can't we just have transparency, and the more information, the better? As Tennessee lawmakers debated a new universal voucher program earlier this year, one financial analysis projected that 65% of vouchers would go to students already enrolled in private schools. I'd say it's probably true, because people that are already taking their kids' education seriously, people that already know that government schools aren't a good alternative for them, people who have not had a kid in a public school system for 6-7 years, even if it's bad, but yeah, that's where all their friends are. So I could see this. This is just makes perfect sense, right? People that are already doing this behavior are more likely to do it than people who aren't. Duh. I'm sure they paid a lot of money to figure this out, which almost any idiot could have done for free. Tennessee families do not have to report their previous school enrollment to the new statewide voucher application. The gap will leave Tennesseans in the dark about whether the program will significantly expand private school access for public school students or send millions in public funding to folks that are already in private schools. I don't think it matters much in either way. My whole issue was the fact that we spent 20 grand to give away a 7 grand scholarship. The way it was done, the manner in which it was done, the awful crap that was done by organizations like Americans for Prosperity and others who attacked conservatives, like Frank Nicely, who recently passed away. But all that stuff was just gross to me, and I did not like it. And the establishment, all of those guys doing that stuff. Who was it? Jack Johnson, I think, told Frank Nicely that if he didn't get on board with the school voucher, that he'd get rid of him politically, and essentially he did. And then later, posts a eulogy, which is always humorous because politicians know that people forget things. Those are the stories. I think it's the first Big 7 I didn't throw a bunch of stuff because I got this awesome mailbag and I was afraid I'd get confused. Guys, I got to leave. I got to go to Grundy County. I ain't happy about it because it's not a happy occasion, but I want to be there to make sure my friends know I love them and care about them, because I do. And I care about you and this publication in our state. If I can ever help you and anything you think I need to know, just email me, Brandon at TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Sorry for more personal and TTC updates than hardcore news this time, but again, it gets pretty darn slow in the summer, which is something I desperately need. So I don't cry too much for it, and I know y'all are busy too. Love you, mean it. Until next time, it's Brandon Lewis, your good buddy at Tennessee Conservative News, the state's largest and only conservative news alternative. Check us out wherever you get social media. Click a like, share this wherever you've watched it. Give us a review. We appreciate everything you do. God bless. See you soon.